Star Trek 57, M23, take 2.
It's the It's Got Star Trek podcast.
Cerritos was a warrior. You do not honor her.
You didn't know her!
Do you follow every order from your commanders?
No!
Cerritos made her choice. You want to solve puzzles and mysteries? Your friend gave her life to protect that. She would not approve of your actions.
You're right. She'd say I'm acting like an idiot. A benach. Okay, but Starfleet can do better. I'm not wrong to call out bullshit when I see it.
Vaj duj dachich. Honor your friend, slay your enemies, and study your, what is it, plans?
Yeah, sometimes it's plants.
Okay, how about we start
Let's
the podcast? Okay, let's do it. Let's start the podcast. We'll cut out all that previous stuff we were just talking about that's unsuitable.
Hologram.
For the public airways.
What about that awesome song I wrote?
Holograms.
Oh, yeah. That
Hologram.
I wrote an awesome song before this whole thing about getting on the ground and flopping around.
That was a good song.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll do with it later because right now we're doing the real podcast. We got to get moving.
This is the real one.
What is reality anyways?
Okay. Hello.
It's this right now.
Hello. Welcome to the It's Got Star Trek podcast.
Hello.
This is episode
Hello.
212 of the It's Got Star Trek podcast. We're just now starting to get pretty good at it, so this is a good episode to listen to.
Hell yeah.
And this week, we will be discussing Star Trek Lower Decks Season 4, the penultimate episode, as it happens, of Season 4, entitled The Inner Fight. That's the episode we will be discussing
Girls trip.
after a few news-em-ups.
News-em-ups. They're on the rad.
Still not 100% on board with that slogan.
News-em-ups.
I'm down
They're
for
on the
news-em-ups.
rad.
News-em-ups I'm digging.
They're a tube on the rad. They're a tubular on the rad.
A tubular is cool, but being on the
tube
rad,
on the rad.
I'm uncomfortable with that
How
phrase.
about tube on the rad?
Okay,
Okay, never mind.
Very uncomfortable.
Never mind.
Danger.
I think without, I didn't even realize it. I think you've revealed why I was uncomfortable with that phrase.
Terrible.
Okay. Yes. News.
Oh wait, so this was the penultimate. Then last week was the
Anti-penultimate.
Mambo penultimate or whatever.
Anti-penultimate.
It wasn't the uni
I
penultimate.
believe it is the anti-penultimate. It's next to the penultimate.
That's an interesting way of describing it as an anti-penultimate.
Well, it's not anti, it's ante.
Well, then it's not that weird.
Anti-penultimate.
Oh, anti meaning beforehand, like
before the penultimate.
Anti-meridian.
It's sort of like how anti-disestablishmentarianism means that you are against disestablishmentarianism.
So-
Establishmentarianism is about, if I recall correctly, having a state religion. Disestablishmentarianism is about removing the state
Church of
religion.
England.
If you are anti-disestablishmentarianism, then you are in favor of maintaining the Church of England. Weird. England?
So why don't they should the fourth from the last? They should just call it the penultimate. The pre-anti. They should call it the pre-anti.
There's a name for it.
They should call it the pre-anti penultimate.
All right.
Pre-anti penultimate. That's really hard to say.
I have a New Year's resolution that I'm going to interrupt Dan less, and it's working out so far.
New Year's resolution. Okay.
News em ups.
Okay, my fault. I'm not like proving my worth right now.
I'm enjoying it. This is an entertainment program, and I'm entertained.
I'm just reinforcing.
I am entertained.
I'm just reinforcing fears that people have. Okay, I'm done.
All right. So, news em ups. First of all, Jesus fucking Christ. First, just as an administrative note, Jesse tonight is joining us remotely. So if there is any sort of difference in the timbre of his voice, it is due to that. Jesse, why don't you give us an example?
I am doing the podcast remotely.
That was good. That was
Is
solid.
there a difference to the
good.
timbre of my voice?
No doubt there will be to the keen-eared among us.
You're
Probably
right.
The keen-eared might notice a difference, and that's
it's
why
got Star Trek aficionados.
we want to be all upfront and open that normally Jesse would be peering over the table at Dan.
Yeah.
But now he's,
What are you talking about?
but
He'd be
tonight,
frowning back at me.
tonight, because of some competing obligations, he is peering over us, over at both of us on Zoom. Zoom as it happens. So that was the
Just like 2020.
that's News 'em Up number 1. News 'em Up number 2 is that Dan and I had the very nice pleasure and delightment
Yes.
to be on Trek Time's Pros and Cons
Hell
debate
yeah.
show.
Yes, we did.
The live debate show, which was last Saturday. It was recorded, but you can find it if you go to Trek Time on YouTube. And or search Pros and Cons. Pros spelt as in prose, Prose, as in the written form, the storytelling
poetry.
sort of form. Yes, as opposed to poetry or some other
Metered verse.
options. Pros and Cons, as in con, as in con,
Yeah.
as in this is city of a 5. That sort of thing.
Sabotage.
And the topic that we were given, Dan and I debated each other. Didn't we, Dan?
Shit.
We did.
And we debated each other on the topic of which Star Trek
When
duo,
does that ever happen?
which Star Trek duo would win a cooking contest.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, and so to find out how that debate went, you need to go over to TrekTime on YouTube.com and check
Is
it
it
out.
Neelix and Tuvok?
No, but you'll have to you'll find out who I think Dan and I did a good job of picking good teams.
I agree. I
Good
think
teams.
it was a spirited discussion for sure. I need to remember to wear make sure my monitor is always going through my headphones because otherwise I end up just like yelling really loud. So I had nothing. I had no feedback telling my ears to be more quiet. So
You were like Andy Samberg's park ranger on
yeah, I
Parks and Recreation.
yeah. So that's a lesson learned
Actually,
on that
it didn't sound like that to me. It sounded perfectly normal to me. But why don't you all go listen to it, and you can write in at feedback@isgotstartrek.com and with the subject line "Dan's too loud," and let us know if you thought he was too loud.
It was a rollicking good time.
It was great, and you all should go check it out. We'll have the link in the show notes as well, like in the in the podcast feed thing. So there'll be a link to that video. Definitely go check it out. I don't know, what was it, like an hour and 20 minutes, something like that. A real good time. They got tons of fun videos over at Trek Time. Endless content. You can have so much fun over there. So go check it out. So we were really delighted to be invited, and I think it
Delighted to invited.
Yeah, I think it worked out very well.
Thank you.
So yes,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
go enjoy that as soon as humanly possible. And then the last news up is just to give you a heads up that in the second break, we'll have some cool Star Trek trivia that's relevant to this episode. It's not really a trivia game. It's more just some trivia that was put together by some users on Reddit, which I thought was very interesting and worth incorporating into our conversation here. Anybody else have any news ups? Jesse, news ups?
No. I
right.
did mine.
Ooh.
Jesse's all good. Dan, do you have any news ups?
Ooh.
You got anything to plug? You got any
Anything to plug?
got any shows coming up?
I bet he does.
Yeah, I got one coming up in a few weeks. It's in my basement, but you got to be on the guest list to arrive. And if you don't,
How do you get on the guest list?
well, if you don't know, then you're not on it. so-
okay. All right. Yes, Dan does a series of avant-garde one-man shows.
Yeah.
Jesse and I have never been invited, so we just couldn't tell you what they're all about.
It's
but,
performance art as much as it is like a concert. And
I'm
I've heard rumors.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you the rumors I've heard.
And you can
Jesse.
see in the window from the outside.
Well, that the rumors I heard that is exclusive parties are exclusive to a party of one and a couple of cats
and a TV.
and people peer in and Dan's just doing some
maybe-
bizarre dance.
And maybe some kind of like some Stouffer's macaroni that I like
Ooh.
made and like ate.
Stouffer's stuffing is pretty solid.
Oh,
So
yeah,
quick.
it's good.
Just toss a little butter in there, a little water, some milk.
Stouffer's mac and cheese is like one of them guilty pleasures for me. It's like I just tear up a whole family size if I'm not careful.
I don't know if I've tried the Stofers. We tend to go with the old-fashioned Kraft.
Yeah, Kraft's good too. You know, I mean, it's whatever you prefer, man.
It is. There are many options out there.
There are
I
money
prefer eating
options.
something else altogether.
Those options are money, man.
Jesse's not into gloppy food so much.
Yeah. No, he doesn't like eggs. He doesn't like mayonnaise. Dan and I could just be slathered in eggs and mayonnaise, and we'd be happy folks.
Yeah, generally, I like to carry a bunch of eggs with me when I go swimming in mayonnaise.
Yeah, and Dan's not talking about hard-boiled eggs. He's talking about just cold fried eggs.
Yeah,
sunny side up fried eggs.
Yeah, I like them
in your pocket. It's
He's talking about the eggs that his own body produces.
That's a weird.
Weird.
Chicken Dan.
Weird.
They call him Chicken Dan.
Whoa!
All right. Well, we'll move the topic along from Dan's cloaca and towards Star Trek.
They call him Cloaca Dan.
But you can't have an egg pool, a mayonnaise party with eggs in the mayonnaise pool unless the eggs are over very easy. So over well will not do. So
yeah, I mean,
they need to be nice and slurpy.
Let's take a raw egg. Slurp it down.
Slurp it. Ugh.
You just keep them in your pockets?
Yeah, you just keep fried egg in your pocket.
Danger.
I mean, if you're gonna be hiking or something, you might do just loose scrambled eggs. Might be better than the raw
around
eggs,
like a necklace around your neck or something.
So the audience can now see how little Jesse knows of eggs. He's so disgusted by them. He's unclear on the physics of the incredible edible egg. This message has not been brought to you by the United States Egg Council.
What? What are you talking about?
Remember those commercials?
The incredible edible egg?
Yeah.
Then there was that sketch.
Then
there's that sketch on the I Think You Should Leave where he's dropping some egg into he's playing some game.
Oh yeah, that's on season 3. That's a great one. That's the egg game.
Computer egg game where he's dropping eggs in the computer.
Yeah, I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson. And it's the egg game. Look it up.
He was also the first time I saw Tim Robinson was in an SNL sketch called. It was about a product called Z Shirt. It was with him and Kevin Hart.
Okay.
You already talked about that.
Yeah, I know. The best part is every time we bring up Tim Robinson, you always give the anecdote about seeing him in that in the Z, and it's cool. It's cool.
No, I'm just saying the beauty of a podcast. Well, the beauty. I don't know if that's the beauty, but maybe I should say a characteristic of a podcast is the fact that people or a radio show, people don't listen to all of them. So somebody might not have heard that very, very entertaining anecdote I had. It wasn't an anecdote, more of a suggestion. I guess it was a suggestion combined with an anecdote.
It was a suggested note.
But there's a good chance.
No, it was an anecgestion.
There's a good chance that nobody has heard me out there in the podcast world has heard me say that before. But you can if you go back to the previous episodes.
I would imagine there are some as well. And so we merely need to acknowledge it.
What about our true fans?
Yes, our true fans, they will know and they will say, they brought that story up again, but that's okay. We're fine with all of this. As you noted, Dan, it ain't no thing. What is a thing though is Star Trek Lower Decks Season 4, Episode 9, The Inner Fight. The Inner Fight, which was very good, a very good first part of a 2-part episode.
Yeah, I agree. They had not Tom Paris. But they had Nick Locarno.
Nick?
Patrick, didn't you say something last week about Tom Paris? Unless I made it up in my head, I thought you were saying something about Tom Paris last week or the week before.
Did I say something? I may have said something about Tom Paris. Oh, I can't remember. Maybe it was mentioning that the weird ship has a kind of a sort of a hint of a similarity to the Delta Flyer.
Which weird ship?
The white ship that Locarno apparently is Locarno's ship.
Okay.
Now we know.
What about those things they were flying?
I was like, now we know it's Locarno.
Yeah. Oh, okay. If you did it again, I could say Nick Locarno. I could follow it up with a sound. Well, we don't have to do that.
You want to say Nick Locarno?
Well, you say now you know, and then I'll say Nick Locarno.
Okay.
Now we know.
Nick Locarno.
All right. I'm so glad we did that. The clip I was playing is from an episode of That Mitchell and Webb Look. And it's to me, a famous sketch in which somebody keeps saying...
Can you say to me a famous sketch?
Well, it is one that stands
out. In my
out,
opinion.
It stands out in the pantheon of That Mitchell and Webb Look sketches. And they are all good. But this is one of those ones that's particularly good, and it's the Now We Know sketch. And it's, to me, one of the funniest of the already enormously funny That Mitchell and Webb Look TV show sketches. It's a sketch show from England with David Mitchell and Robert Webb and a number of other cool people, and they got all sorts of funny jokes.
I'm hugging you.
It is funny, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good show.
a funny
I
show.
haven't seen a lot of it, but,
All right,
but it's a
well,
good show.
Anyway, that's where the Now We Know comes from. Anyway, you were I think I accidentally interrupted one of you saying something about Nick Locarno.
Well, we're talking. Well, you were talking about the Delta Flyer, and apparently this was Nick Locarno's ship. So.
It is, but Nick Locarno. Okay, so here's the thing. We know it's Nick Locarno, and we can discuss more about what we think his motivations are, etc. But the Delta Flyer is a different ship, and it flies differently and all that. But I don't know. There's like a silhouette that's similar, but it also shouldn't make sense because Nick Locarno is expressly not Tom Paris. So Tom Paris is the one who built the Delta Flyer. There should be no relationship between the two, unless Nick Locarno is like, hey, this guy is similar to me, so I'm going to like steal his
well, maybe it was a meta joke by the writers or something.
And it could be a meta joke by the writers, or it could be myself and other people are reading too much into it when they think there's a shared silhouette there. I think that would also be a very fair point.
When I was watching the episode, I was like kind of bummed that there wasn't more Nick Locarno, and then it like struck me. I was like, oh wait, they're saving that for episode.
There's
two.
a whole nother
episode.
There's a whole nother episode.
The ultimate episode.
Trouble together.
But how about this?
We're going to cause some trouble together. Trouble together. Trouble together.
We'll start at the beginning, or the beginning-ish part where
Your eyes shoot out of your head.
that part.
that guy. Where
The venomous tremble lizards.
it's another one of these science outposts,
Right.
and we see more
Science.
more acute dangerous behavior from Mariner. I guess this has been somewhat regular over the course of the season, but this was like really acute. They're driving the point home here. Before it was more like more subtle versions of personal and professional sabotage. This was more like Death Wish type stuff.
Right.
Sabotage.
Oh, sorry. I had to play that. They when they first did it was in the Ransom episode where she first got promoted, and it almost seemed as if it wasn't even a thing. Like, I mean, you could tell it was a thing at the moment in that episode when she said, "Why do I do that?" When he's talking about why is she always
Sabotage-ing
herself, and she's like, "Why do I do that?" And that point, it was like, "Oh, they're making a point of this whole thing about Mariner." And that point, it was like kind of the first clue that this might be a beginning of something, but it wasn't even really established yet. And so now, they really sort of like explain like where her jaded shit all began. And it like and it all came to a head when she got hand-to-hand combat with a Klingon, and they were interrupted by a glass storm. That was like that was like when it was too dangerous. Then that's when it was like, okay, what's going on with Mariner?
It seems like a big chunk of why Mariner is how we see her, how we know her as a character.
Yeah,
she seemed to explain to the rest of the story probably.
Cerritos was a warrior.
About her friend.
Unless there's more.
Well, and it's the other thing that this episode, of course, does is it ties Lower Decks, the television program, into TNG's Lower Decks, the TV episode.
Yeah.
Which, more acutely and in a very interesting way by establishing the fact that Mariner knew Ensign Sito Jaxa, and she was in 2 episodes of TNG. First is the First Duty, and that's the one with Locarno.
You said duty.
Yeah.
Sorry.
First Duty.
And
Wesley Crusher.
Okay, so I think it does make sense for us to go into Locarno, and then, which is all the First Duty stuff, and then into the Lower Decks mission stuff. But
Nick Locarno.
But first, I wanted to note that we sometimes just, look at the internet and see what the internet's bubbling about, and this episode I think was very well received. However, it did renew the debate that there's this sort of ongoing debate about Mariner's age on the internet.
I didn't know that was a thing at all.
That's been going on since the beginning, because especially from some of the early critics who were kind of quick to jump to the idea that Mariner was some sort of quote unquote Mary Sue.
Oh, I knew you were. Yeah, when you said quote unquote, I was like, oh no, he's going to say.
Well,
Mary
it's because
Sue.
it's a literary term that people actually tend to use incorrectly. But regardless, they were accusing her of being quote unquote
noticed that too,
overpowered, right? But then there was a lot of the debate about, well, she's been on all these ships and Deep Space Nine. She fought in the Dominion War. It's like, well, she's clearly more advanced than these other people, than Boimler and Tendi, etc., who haven't fucked up their careers, right? And that's kind of the point. We grew to understand and realize that that's kind of the point. Like, Mariner is older than all of them by some degree, but then the debate has been, By how much? By what degree?
Because she has such a long experience history with different ships and like all that, and like she seems to be the most knowledgeable of the bunch. But like it was always established that the reason she was the most knowledgeable in terms of like how Starfleet works, most experienced, I should say, is because she kept getting demoted, which would imply that she would be older.
Well, I don't necessarily agree fully because I think she has been on a number of ships. Yes, that gives her different experience, but she's also has a mom who's a captain.
Yeah, that's true.
She's specifically shown to have interacted with like people like Riker. She has a very close relationship, right? So with
Thomas Riker.
high end people in the Starfleet, right? But what we get some clues here because we know that Cerritos Jaxa graduated Starfleet Academy in 2370, which is 12 years before the events of this episode, right? And we know that she graduated ahead of Mariner. So Mariner graduated within a few years afterwards, probably Ensign Harry Kim style or something like that, which would make Mariner probably, I don't know, mid-30s, some, plus or minus a few years. And that, of course, doesn't count any sort of potential time travel, temporal hilarity type business, which is another thing they could toss in there. But I think it's fine for people. Like, there's a big debate still raging on the internet, but to me, the most convincing thing is like, yeah, okay, now we have a little bit more information about who she was contemporary with in Starfleet Academy. And we know what happened with those people and what years they were doing their business. So we can make a guess here that she's probably like 34 or something like that.
And the rest of them are in their 20s?
The rest of them are probably in their mid-20s, because you graduate in, 22, 23, presumably, somewhere in that area.
Probably, yeah.
I think that's the general accepted understanding of how Starfleet Academy works. It works similar to a military academy on Earth, United States, 300 years previously. Anyway, it was an interesting thing. We do get a lot more information, and some of it is the direct information, like Jesse noted, about her background, and then some of it is just sort of the side little clues, like filling in some of the contours of Mariner's life. And we talked about last week, I think, right? How so much of this season seems to have been tying up loose ends that have been dangling, many of them since the very first episode, certainly the first season. So this has been a loose end tying up thing, and it feels weird kind of because we know there's season 5. We're hoping for many more. And so I'm very interested to see where they pivot from this because, again, Mariner resolves a lot. Even in this episode, even though it's not done, there's one more to go. We don't know exactly how it's going to resolve. She's at least gotten to the point where she's identified and vocalized the issue that's bogging her down.
Yeah, so in this season, she established she had an issue. She didn't really sort of like outwardly establish that she seemed like when she said, "Why do I do that?" that was sort of like an internal thing that she happened to say aloud. But this season, they established that she recognized it, and then this episode, we established why she has this issue.
Yeah,
that is kind of a big deal. It's a lot of shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's like she's suffering a form of arrested development. What? You know what I'm saying? Because she's. What are you doing? Because she's stuck.
Now we know.
Now we know.
Now we know.
Now we know.
Nick Locarno.
But she is. She's. It's a form of arrested development because. Oh yeah, shit. It's a form of arrested development because she's stuck in this situation.
What is the meaning of this?
Now we know. Now we know.
Nick Locarno!
This is madness.
All I'm saying is that she had this tragedy that she endured. She had this person she looked up to, maybe a couple years ahead of her in school, and became close to, and saw that person make mistakes, which we can get into in a little bit in the first duty, but overcome them and succeed and get posted to the Enterprise, and only to die for a secret mission. That's really interesting. That's really interesting backstory to tie it to that. And you can see how somebody who, like Cerritos Jaxa was an ensign at the time. She was a mere ensign, and she went on this very important mission that could help potentially save a bunch of lives. You can understand how somebody could find themselves in a sort of form of arrested development by becoming sort of psychologically tied.
What the hell are you doing here?
Psychologically tied to that particular moment in that person's career. It's like that she thought she was honoring her Sito by maintaining her ensignship because she wants to be just like Sito.
Do you think that
obviously?
Do you think she was trying to honor? I mean, maybe that was part of it, but it seems like she's like really just jaded, super jaded about the whole thing because she said Sito was doing it because she was saying like she wanted to just explore basically. She just wanted to be explorer. That's all she wanted to do, and then she got caught up and killed, which is like which will fuck anyone up, right? Like in terms of like
presumably
on the
especially the being killed part.
Well, I'm on the outside. I mean, you.
That'll stop it.
I mean,
Stops everything.
Being blown up by like a photon torpedo is going to do all sorts of stuff to your outside,
but
and your inside, and everything in between.
You're not going to know the difference.
So because she's jaded because about like her friend just wanting to get in for one thing, but being killed for something that should have been nonviolent. It could also just be like she's just sort of disenchanted with the whole idea of Starfleet, and so she's basically trying to give him a fuck you all the time. Like you can't fucking I don't want you. It's like you can't get me because I don't want you. It's like instead of being rejected, she rejects Starfleet.
Yeah, but with the added nuance that
way it also saves her from like being hurt more too.
Look, there's the added nuance that, in my view, what they're doing is they're using the Mariner character and her. A character arc.
The Mariner character.
Yeah, the Mariner character and her character arc.
Mariner character.
They're using that as a analogy, a metaphor for the greater conflict that exists within the concept of Starfleet and the Federation, and even at the meta level exists within fans, which is how do you square the fact
the hypotenuse of a triangle.
That I'm not familiar with. But I am familiar in the literary sense.
Talk to that Pythagoras guy. He had a whole religion around numbers.
All right.
Some thought of him as a witch doctor.
Why don't you talk to him?
God was a unit of one, not like anything. It was just this sort of one unit. The concept of one unit was God to them.
I went to the witch doctor.
Would you tell him what? Did he tell you what to do?
And this is what he said.
Bing.
No.
He said,
no.
Ooh ee ooh ting tang. Walla walla bing bang.
Oh, that's what it is.
Ooh ee ooh ting tang walla walla bing bang. It was.
What do you think you're doing?
That sort of thing. That was that advice I found sort of amusing, but largely useless.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
it's hard to take a lot from that and go with it.
It is. But getting back to the
what about the part at the Sandman like when they're like ba 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 ba, what are they saying there?
Completely useful and helpful.
What are they saying there?
Bring me a dream, boom 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 boom, make her.
Yeah, what are they saying?
Making music.
What are they saying when they go bum bum bum?
Mr. Sandman,
what is that?
That's
bring
music.
me a dream.
But what about when Anthony Kiedis on the
Ting Tang Walla Walla Bing Bang?
What about Anthony Kiedis? What about Anthony Kiedis when he's all like wing along a ding a dong shong a ning a numma nimma nimma kong gong.
That's music.
But I'm saying, like, what are they saying? What is their soul saying?
What's it saying to you, man?
Hey, they smoke too much dope. That's hey, you smoke too much dope, you become a dope.
Oh.
Okay.
What do you think you're doing?
Yet.
Before the break, I will get this point out because I think it's a useful point.
Point out.
The point is that in Star Trek, and we alluded to this either last week or the week before because there was some other similar thing that came up. I'm blanking on it right now, which was the conflict between what Starfleet wants to be and what it is. In other words, it wants to be science-y, nerdy,
something involving
fun,
dissonance,
but
some kind of dissonance.
Well, there is cognitive dissonance, which should not be confused with Arrested Development.
What the hell are you doing here?
But I think what they're doing with Mariner, the important point with Mariner is, yes, she says that she's got this problem with Starfleet. She lists a number of problems, but specifically we're tying it to the death of Sito Jaxa being sent on this mission that probably, she was only sent because she was a Bajoran, right, basically? And she ended up dying for it. And that's the war thing, right? That's the war thing.
Oh, that's
and
the
she
thing.
had to
That's
prove
the thing
to
about
Picard
war.
that she wasn't useless.
Yeah, but
You said but.
But what we don't see is we don't see Mariner leaving Starfleet. She flirts with it. Remember? Was it last season or whatever? She flirts with it, the idea, but she doesn't do it before. She tries it for a little bit and it doesn't work for her. She comes back. And that's the conflict. She loves Starfleet. She hates Starfleet. Mm-hmm. Starfleet does all these good things. Starfleet also does a bunch of shady things. Or even if you don't want to say Starfleet's definitely done some shady stuff, but even when they're just like, oh, I'm defending the Alpha Quadrant, it still sucks to be like, oh, my job now is just to mow down Cardassians and Jem'Hadar and just murder people, and they're going to be murdering my friends. That sucks.
Well, yeah.
Even if there's no way around it, philosophically or otherwise, it still sucks.
Well, I mean, there's a few things around that we've already talked about, but like I said, that's kind of like one of the ideas would be like, yeah, she loves Starfleet, but she doesn't want to get hurt, so that's why the whole like she's pushing away from it, but she can't keep herself away from it, but at the same time, she doesn't want to. Like I was saying, she wants to reject them. She doesn't want them to reject her, and by reject her, not meaning kick her out. She means like the concept of Starfleet. Someone dies. That's a form of rejection. Having like someone you care about die. You know,
I'm just saying. I think that it's both. She wants to reject them and not reject them. It's like that. That's the complexity.
That's because like she really loves it at the same time
because it is awesome.
Because she feels her emotions are clashing. Because she really cares about it, but at the same time doesn't want to get hurt. And so that's the whole like where the dissonance comes in.
I don't want to get hurt either.
Dissonance.
And I think the best way we can avoid getting hurt is by taking a very brief break. What do you think?
Ow! I got sticks in my boots.
All right. Okay.
Patrick's got a pee-pee.
No, I don't have to pee-pee. Not yet. I have to get a drink. All right. We'll be right back. All right, we're back.
Oh man,
no, we're not.
We're back.
We're not Brack. We're not Brack. That's ridiculous. We are back.
Right.
We have returned. That's what I should say. All right, we have returned.
I guess I would want to clarify something I said right before the break because it might not have made sense without some sort of. What does that mean?
I don't know. He's just fucking with you. It's funny. It's when he's like he's over there comfy in his own house and he's still
What?
I'm in my own house. I'm just
about?
pushing buttons and shit.
He's just pushing buttons and fucking with you.
When I said that, like when someone close to you is dying or dies, it's a form of rejection. Now that may not make a lot of sense, but what I was kind of trying to say is the same emotions are involved when somebody rejects you or somebody like has to leave, even if they're not specifically rejecting you. It's the concept of being torn away from something that you care about before you're ready or something like that. Now one involves like, bitterness about like at the person for like saying you're not good enough. The other involves bitterness about how life is all fucked up. But it's still this concept that something's being wrenched from you before you're ready.
All right. So before we get back to the old episode discussion, we do have there's some interesting trivia. Jesus, what was that? What the fuck was that?
Who did that?
That was when they went to warp.
Yeah, and I started looking on the internet. It's like, can shuttles go to warp? And apparently they do have. Some of them have limited warp capability.
Some of them.
Yeah. I mean, they
don't talk about it a lot though, because they don't usually show shuttles going to warp.
TNG had warp shuttles, but like not all of them were warp shuttles.
What was that? Oh, that reminded me of last week when we were talking about caves. Like they were talking about. Oh yeah, because
was it the cave facts? Did you learn a lot of good stuff with the cave facts? That was a big hit, by the way.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, with the audience. The audience loved our cave facts. If you haven't heard last week's episode caves,
do you have any more cave facts for us, Patrick?
No, I
all 10. All of them. They're all
10 were provided last week.
No, Steve Levy was a conspiracy theorist.
Yes,
right, and he was talking.
Still is.
I can't remember what he said, but he said something about like how warp drive doesn't actually like tear up.
Yes, it doesn't actually damage
subspace
because there's that whole TNG episode where the people were all like,
it
fucks it up.
That's funny. I'll tell you why that's funny.
Because
guys.
they never brought it up again. Well, no, there's a couple times they brought it up.
That's what I'm trying to explain.
A couple times.
That's what I'm trying to say.
All right.
They never brought it up again, so they're instead of saying like, oh, they brought this shit up and they're going back on their head cannon. No, just regular cannon. Saying that they
boom.
saying that they
regular cannon.
Saying that they sort of like
with two ends.
Saying that they sort of retconned this concept of like how warp drive messes up subspace or whatever. And you can say no, they didn't retcon that. No. It was actually just a conspiracy by Starfleet all along, and it doesn't actually tear up subspace. And so that ties that loose end if you want to believe that that's a canon, but of course it's just a funny joke.
I also have a minor correction that in no way changes your point. But the minor correction
is not subspace. Oh, no. It's space-time continuum.
No.
It's space-time.
No. All I was going to say is just going to stress that they did bring it up at least one other time. There was an admiral that gave the Enterprise permission to exceed the warp limit in that area.
Oh, you're right.
Because of a specific mission.
You're
not
right.
not a Pacific
No.
mission, a specific.
Because they don't deal with Pacific
mission.
in space.
They generally do not.
Was
Not
that-
unless they're
You
dealing
don't
with the
need to.
cetacean ops or going home and visiting their home ocean.
Was that Admiral Akbar? Speaking of which,
What? Come on. Yeah. There was a lot of Star Wars in this. There's a lot of Star Wars in this. But anyway, let's do the trivia first, and then we'll get to the Star Wars, and then we'll get to the emotional stuff, and the this and the that, and the other things. Okay? Great.
we did the emotional stuff already.
No, there's other emotional stuff.
I hate emotions.
I know.
There's always more emotional
Yeah.
stuff, dude.
Okay. Well, we usually save the emotional
our
stuff
40s.
for the third break, but now we put it all in. Let's do it. We front loaded it, so now the rest is just going to be fucking hilarious.
I've got a load in my back.
Wait, what?
Like
It's gonna be like that.
You said you didn't have to go to the bathroom over the break.
Well, because I did already. That's why I don't have to. Because I already did.
You got a load in your back.
My backside.
I'm at my own house and I don't
I have
have
a
to
load
smell
in
it.
the pants and my backside.
I just want to make. I don't know if this is some code that I'm not familiar with, or if I'm to take it at face value.
Okay, I think
you're implying that you pooped your pants.
I think the way I said it came out really strangely, but I do remember a babysitter.
but I have pooped my pants.
No, I remember as a kid there was a babysitter
Coming
I
out
had. and
strangely.
She was this babysitter I had. She was Swiss, and she was always talking about like, "Oh, do you have a load in your pants?" She'd always be talking about to the kids because there was like a million kids around. She's like,
mean
"Oh,
it's a Swiss
what's
thing?
wrong? Do you have a load in your pants?" And that's so she would when she said you have a load in your pants, it was referring to doo doo in the pants.
Okay.
The Swiss have a
I don't know if
48-hour work.
I don't know if it's a Swiss thing, but if you ever were wondering, like maybe I didn't hear it, maybe it is. I don't know.
You think a load in the pants is a Swiss thing?
You
Like-
guys have
like,
never
like clocks.
You guys have never heard
and
of
mountains and tunnels.
and what?
working too much and
I don't know.
Well, wait.
They
wait.
work like 48 hours a
So,
week.
so neither of you guys have heard of like load in your pants referring to doo doo.
No, yes, of course we have, but I'm trying to provide this trivia.
But you were
information.
saying that you were confused by me saying it.
No, I was confused by you connecting it to a Swiss person, as if it was a Swiss
No,
thing.
no, you were confused because I was talking about having a load in my pants, and you were like confused by the concept of me having a load in my pants.
But you didn't say load in your pants. You said load in your back.
Okay, yeah,
That
okay.
was confusing.
Okay,
It was
you're
confusing
fair
phrase.
enough. Fair enough. You're right. I'm wrong.
All right,
Fine. You're right. You're right. I'm wrong.
we're
Whatever.
This is how things go on air resolution
This has never happened before.
of
Is
conflict.
there any more trivia?
Yes, we're getting there. We haven't even gotten to
Anymore.
it. Okay, so this
Oh, shit.
this is the longest times between character appearances trivia.
Whoa, I would have never thought of this.
But I was curious about this, but as it happened, the Reddit user Phoenix Hunter
Phoenix.
pulled this.
That was
list-
from a game called Killer Instinct.
okay. Pulled this list together with the help of various commenters, and it's actually a couple of lists. So thank you very much to Phoenix Hunter. Although
Thank you.
I'm a little concerned about the name because if your name is Phoenix Hunter, presumably
Does that mean you're a supervillain?
No, I think it means you hunt phoenixes for sport.
Yeah,
which is not very sporty.
Well,
'cause
isn't
it's
the Phoenix? That's like something in Marvel, like the Phoenix.
Well, it's also
And so that
in
means he's a-
mythology, the phoenix is the bird that
Well, right,
dies and
yes.
comes back.
It
in
burns
fire.
itself to
Well,
death.
yeah,
It
I
burns
know.
itself to death.
Yeah, I know.
You got the old Harry Potter's got some of that business.
I know.
The transphobic Harry Potter.
I knew that, and the first time I learned that was a kid playing a game called Archon, which was like a chess kind of game, and you could be a phoenix, and the phoenix's move
know.
it caught on fire.
I don't want to promote people hunting phoenixes. Now it's possible.
Yeah, Jean Grey was Phoenix.
It's possible.
And so he's a supervillain hunting Jean Grey.
It's possible that this person is a hunter and he died or they died and then rose from the ashes. Maybe a hunter who died in some sort of self-immolation or something, and then rose from the ashes and has taken on the epithet Phoenix.
A warrior.
They're the Phoenix Hunter. But I don't think so. I think probably they hunt phoenixes.
well, that's why I
not
think
so
he's a
cool.
super villain because he hunts Jean Grey.
Okay,
Maybe
now-
he lives in Arizona.
Okay,
Who
now-
was played by Famke Janssen, who was in an episode of
Famke Janssen.
Who was in-
Famke Janssen?
who was in an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Anyway, so the question I have for you is we have two lists. One is a list which is just characters. It's a list of how much time has elapsed between the last appearance of a character and the next appearance.
Well, it wouldn't be their last if it was their next if they had a next
Well,
appearance.
Okay, you know what I mean. Well, the intervening time between the characters previous to appearing, the most time between a character appearing and then reappearing again later.
Disappearing.
Is it mud?
Okay.
Well, the question is there's two lists that are going. One is just the characters, just purely the characters, and the other one is characters portrayed by the same actor. Which one are you interested in perusing first?
The first one, not the same actor one.
Not
I'm
the same
interested in
actor?
I'm interested in the character one.
How about toss out a few guesses? Now, I'll tell you this: you're probably not going to get like the number ones. Some of these are sort of one-off weird characters that is fun.
There's a big gap between the mud of
If it was the
TOS and the mud of Discovery.
For Harry Mudd, I'll give you the answer. The Harry Mudd, the character, the gap is 43 years, 11 months, and 5 days. Mudd's Passion, which was in TAS, and then Choose Your Pain, which was
Jippers are half price for tripeds today.
on Discovery. Yes, and they mentioned jippers.
Yeah.
Half price for tripeds.
Yeah.
Tripeds. Come on.
Come on.
All right. Well, so Jesse, you said Harry Mudd. That's in this list is number 12. And by the way, this list was debated because there was a few different things in alternate universes and this and that and the other thing. But
what about Kirk?
Which Kirk?
James T. Kirk.
Not on this list.
Well,
because Kirk
was in Strange New Worlds.
Yes, but
but how far in the past was that?
I think even that because the Kirk
I guess he was in
Generations, so it's like it's like 25 years.
Chapel, Nurse Chapel.
Nurse Chapel's a good one. I don't think I see. No.
Wait, when you say time, do you mean like timeline in the show?
Time is the fire.
Do you mean timeline in the show or timeline
in real life?
In real life, yeah. Then it would be Kirk.
Down here, it's our time.
Because it would be Kirk because he was in TOS, but then he was also in the Strange New Worlds New Worlds episode.
No, but you're missing that Kirk was in Generations.
But that doesn't count.
Why doesn't it count?
Because
it doesn't. Because
it doesn't fit with what
I'm
saying.
Okay, well then you should fucking join this Reddit thread because that's exactly what the type of shit that people were saying, which is why no one's gonna be satisfied with any of this shit. Okay, how about this? I'll just toss out a few highlights there. Spock, it was 47 years, 9 months, 30 days. The Infinite Vulcan to Kayshawn, his eyes open.
The Infinite Vulcan was like the last appearance. Oh, I guess that would make sense.
Sorry, that was Spock 2. That was the giant Spock.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Wait, there's a Spock. Wait, Spock 2 comes back.
Yeah,
as a skeleton.
In Kayshawn, his eyes open.
Oh right,
we see him with the collector people.
That's funny.
Una Chin Riley is 52 years, 2 months, 14 days. Shit. The Menagerie to an Oboe for Charon.
Why didn't I? That should have been the first one I thought about.
Christopher Pike is 52 years, 1 month, 24 days.
Have they established a definitive answer yet?
These are real. I mean, this is as definitive as it's going to get. Joseph Mbenga. Joseph Mbenga, the character, 53 years, 3 months, 11 days. That which survives in TOS to Strange New Worlds. Landrew, 53 years, 7 months, 29 days. That's the Return of the Archons and No Small Parts, where they go back to that planet. T'Pring is Spock's engaged person. A mock time to Strange New Worlds. Interestingly, Stawn, 54 years, 9 months, even longer, which actually makes sense. I guess a mock time to the Serene Squall, because he showed up after T'Pring on Strange New Worlds. Sam Kirk is listed as number 2, 55 years, 22 days. Operation Annihilate to Strange New Worlds. Number 1, it's a deep cut. It's Hansen Al-Salah. 55 years, 6 months, 22 days. Balance of Terror and to A Quality of Mercy. If I recall correctly, he was the one who was on the station that was being attacked by the Romulans. So we see him again, but he's played by a different thing. Now, we'll go over some of the highlights of characters portrayed by the same actor.
Oh, I want to guess one.
And this is one reason why we're bringing it up, because on this list, one of them is Nick Locarno. Which is, that's the baseline, right? We'll set that in there. I won't tell you where he is in the list of 10, but there's Nick Locarno.
Well, I don't get to guess any?
Well, I'm just telling you Nick Locarno, and then you can guess around that, okay? Mm-hmm. So Nick Locarno was 31 years, 6 months, 26 days.
Arn Darvin.
From the first duty to the inner fight.
What about Arn Darvin?
Jesse's saying Arn Darvin. Arn Darvin is 28 years.
What about
10 months.
Majel Barrett? Is she on there?
No, Arn Darvin's a few slots below. He's number 7. Few slots below Nick Locarno.
Does Majel Barrett go on that list?
Majel Barrett's an actress.
An actor.
So what's the character?
Wait. That's what we were saying. Played by the same actor.
Yes, and she's not on the list of 10.
No, Jesse, we're talking about the same actor. We're not talking about the same character.
The character played by the same actor versus
the character portrayed by the same actor. So
you're not just talking about people playing just the same actor appearing back on the show. Oh
no,
I misunderstood.
Otherwise, I'm sure it'd be Clint Howard.
I'm sure I'm
because Clint Howard was on TOS.
I got the premise wrong.
And okay, Well, are you going to guess?
Well, all my answers are meaningless now.
What do you mean,
so-
how many answers? You just found out about this quiz, and you already have like a boatload of answers.
Yeah, I got like infinity.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, Jesse, good job with Arn Darvin.
Yeah.
There is, of course, Kor, Koloth, and Kang. They were in Blood Oath on Deep Space Nine, but they're slightly different. They're all around 25, 26, 27 years. That's where they are. If we go up, Sonia Gomez, 32 years, 4 months, 29 days.
Word.
She was in the Samaritan Snare. Didn't she spill like coffee or something on Picard?
Yeah.
And then she was a captain in First Contact on Lower Decks. Elizabeth Shelby. Captain Shelby or Commander Shelby.
You're right.
32 years, 6 months, 20 days between Best of Both Worlds Part 2 and Box on Star Trek Picard.
You're right.
Thadian Okona was number 2 slot. 33 years, 11 months, 5 days. The outrageous Okona to Crossroads, which was on Star Trek Prodigy.
Okay.
And number
he's
one.
on Prodigy.
You want to guess number one? Number one? Any takers? Any guesses? No. Okay, nobody's guessing.
No.
Number one is The Punk on a Bus.
Oh.
Shit.
35 years, 3 months, 26 days.
What was the song that
from
he's
the voyage
singing?
home.
Like, the song's all like, I don't like you. Or it's like, I don't, or I hate you, or something like that. Yeah.
Because he's on Picard.
I
Right?
hate you
Yeah.
and I berate you.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, that song's awesome.
I don't give a fuck about you. Something along those lines. Yes, he was in Watcher. There was the Voyage Home and Watcher.
Speaking of cool like rockin' tunes they make just for shows, I'm pretty sure they made that just for the movie. That song just for the movie. I think it was made by like the sound guy or whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure. It was.
Wasn't it made by that guy that is listening to it?
Actually, that show.
Maybe I don't know.
Because and this also relates because this is kind of like they reference sort of Star Wars stuff in this episode. Ahsoka, like there's this in the first episode. There's this awesome like rockin' song that was. I guess supposed
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be like Huddy's like band. Or
It's
something.
not jizz music.
No, it's like Huddy's punk or
I'm
something.
very aggravated that Disney has changed jizz music. They said
Hutties.
it's not jizz music anymore. They call it something else. They call it like fucking splat music or something. I forget what it was. Cum music. I don't remember.
call
But
it just
they
skeet,
changed it
skeet,
something. Yeah, skeet music.
Hut is that how you? Is Jesse Hutties?
I was just asking. Were you referring to the language that the Hutt speak?
Yeah, that's a Hutties punk band.
Saying some other kind of word?
I thought you were
No,
talking
I know,
about
that's-
John Madden 93 on Sega Genesis.
No, that's why I was asking you, Jesse, because I realized saying Huddy. Because I was realizing that saying Huddies sounds weird. It sounds like saying at ease. But
I didn't know if you were saying like Huddy Ledbetter or something.
I was saying of the Huts.
Okay.
And that was an awesome song that you should listen to as well.
It is.
From the first episode of Ahsoka.
Another awesome thing are the people that are being sought after. And so we get this at the beginning of this show, at the beginning of the episode. Captain Freeman says basically, okay, we're looking for these 3 people. Or 4 people. We need
7 of 9, Beverly Crusher,
Yes.
Thomas Riker, Nick Locarno.
Nick
Locarno.
Thomas Riker.
And we need to get them back. We don't know why. It's not explained to the audience exactly how they connect to this
Ooh, I bet we'll find out
white
next
ship.
And then Boimler's all like,
Oh my God, we're gonna meet Beverly Crusher.
Yes,
but he doesn't get excited for 7 of 9 or Thomas Riker. Of course, I understand why not Thomas Riker, but.
Because as Jesse from Crusher Condo, that's going to be their new venture, the Crusher Convo podcast, which I do believe is they're collecting investments for the Crusher Condo special. It's going to be a housing place.
I'll buy it.
Where you can buy in, and the only rule is you have to be all like every day. You got to be like Beverly Crusher rocks.
Because you're living in Crusher City.
All right. But Jessie from Crusher Convo, she wrote us on Twitter and was like, hey, when you talk about this episode, be sure to mention that Boimler is clearly a bev head.
Yes.
Because not only does he get excited here, as you note, and not at all excited about the other people, but later he has that dream where he's like, teach me to tap dance.
Teach me how to tap dance, Beverly Crusher.
And he does he's doing a little dance in his sleep.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, 7 of 9's cool, but the other 2 are duds.
I don't know, right? They're all,
Thomas
Teach me how to
Riker,
tap
come on.
dance.
Well,
Beverly
okay,
Crusher.
so this is what I want to get at, right? What I want to get at.
Oh my God, we're gonna meet Beverly Crusher.
what I want to get at is you got this list of 4 people. We're not clear on exactly why they're going after them or quote unquote rescuing them.
It's funny that they have Nick Locarno because it's funny that because Boimler has like a Tom Paris commemorative plate, but then they're like specifically bringing up Nick Locarno.
Well, and the thing is that all 4 of these people at this stage, at 2381, 2382, I forget exactly when this is taking place, but somewhere in that area.
Hike. That sounded like John Madden when you said 2182, 2083. Hike. That sounds like John Madden.
Yeah. All right, good job. Well done. Dan looks very pleased with himself. But all 4 of them have some sort of beef or potential beef.
Where's the
perceived beef with Starfleet?
Where do you perceive the beef?
Because 7 of 9 wanted to join Starfleet after Voyager returned home, which was only a few years prior to when Lower Decks takes place. But Starfleet's like, they're prejudiced against Borg, so they're like, no. So she's off at this stage. She's off doing either her own thing or she's already joined the Fenris Rangers. We know that from Picard. She's off kind of doing
Phoenix Hunters.
But she's not happy
Phoenix
with
Hunters?
Starfleet.
Say Phoenix Hunters, Jesse?
He said penis hunters.
What?
I don't know what he said, but it's funny to me.
He said Phoenix Hunters.
Oh, because of
that's what I thought he said.
That's the
Patrick made it dirty.
Anyway. Okay, all right. But Beverly Crusher.
I got sticks in my boots.
Beverly Crusher. Also at this stage, I believe she's already cut off contact with her friends and crew and stuff. So people don't really know where she's at. And I think there's a perception that since she's working in non-Starfleet areas doing medical stuff, that maybe she has a beef with Starfleet. Thomas Riker was part of the Maquis. And last we heard,
Riker,
he was sent to a Cardassian prison, which we presume all the Maquis were exterminated by the Dominion and the Cardassians. So I think there's a long assumption that Thomas Riker must be dead, but that's not for sure. And this seems to give a suggestion that people don't think he's dead, that Starfleet has tabs on him somehow. If somebody's going to go, quote unquote, try to retrieve him, they must have some clue that he's alive. So that's sort of interesting just in and of itself that that's going on. And then Nick Locarno, of course, we find out at the end of the episode, yes, okay, he's involved in all this business. But yeah, when you're just first seeing this list, it's like, oh, here's another person. He was drummed out of Starfleet Academy. He's got a beef against Starfleet. Who knows what he's getting up to at this moment. So that's the one thing that they all have potentially in common is this sort of like, they're not cool with Starfleet at the moment or not cool with the Federation, or at least there's a perception that might be the case.
Star Wars, right? This is like, they did Star Wars references in this episode.
Yes, I did. It's excellent.
Yeah. A lot of visual Star Wars.
Excellent segue, by the way.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Right?
It's like how Patrick just said a bunch of shit. Now I'm just gonna say Star Wars.
Okay, let's see.
Star Wars. I agree with you though. Yes, there's a lot of.
No,
Star Wars.
I'm trying to figure out because it seems like you said it all just then. So I was trying to like figure out.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
It's good information.
Maybe there's nothing to discuss about it, but I just don't know what the deal is with all with these 4 people. That's all I'm saying. It's like,
right.
I don't.
Yeah, where did they pick Thomas Riker?
And what are we going to see in the next episode?
He's a Maquis?
Are we going to see 7 of 9?
So,
are we going to see Thomas Riker? Are we going to see Beverly Crusher?
So yeah, your whole
all 3 of them are plausible.
Okay.
All 3 of their actors have acted recently on other Star Trek shows.
I wasn't paying close enough attention because
you kept thinking about fucking Star Wars.
The connection you were drawing was that they all might have beef with Star Trek or Star Trek
with Star Trek.
with Starfleet.
It's fine. It's good enough.
Starfleet. You are Starfleet. The Enterprise.
Now we know.
Nick Locarno.
Nick Locarno.
The Enterprise.
Hey, Dan, do you like the Enterprise or the Enterprise D?
I'm not going to answer that question.
The Enterprise.
The Enterprise.
He's nuts.
What do you like better, Discovery or Voyager?
Land Nagus.
Voyage these balls.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Do you think that'll play into anything next episode, like these 4 people, or just Nick? I mean, Nick Locarno obviously will be.
One would presume that maybe the initial
he's not even in the next one.
Maybe
really
the initial list was to distract from Nick Locarno because it's like, oh, maybe it's one of these other people. But I don't know. Maybe these other people are going to become involved somehow.
Whoa! Hey, relax.
We know the Vancouver is scooting around trying to find Beverly Crusher. We don't know exactly what happens there.
That's true.
That is true.
So do you think? Okay.
All right.
Do you think? Okay.
Wait a minute.
Do you guys say Trek?
Hold up.
Do you guys say Trekkers or Trekkies, or do you say neither?
I don't have much call for either of them, but I'm fine with both of them.
Do you think people who are fans of Star Trek have any kind of issue with the fact that this was like a super blatant Star Wars kind of episode? Because let's see, they went to New Axton, which was like Tatooine, and they went to
it was very Tatooine-y.
And then
speeder.
Then they went to Sherbal 5.
That shuttle was straight out of fucking Star Wars.
Yeah, the shuttle looked like
Attack of the
a
Clones
speeder type thing.
Yeah, right. So they went to Sherbal 5 was kind of at the end like the moon of Endor, but at the beginning it was a little different.
They had one of those Return of the Jedi bunker things.
Order to the Sherbal system.
Yeah, you're right. Like the satellite bunker.
That's what I just fucking said. I just said it's like the moon. Oh, I guess I didn't say that.
You didn't specify that.
Okay,
you were referring more to
back it
up.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
The foliage.
My bad. No, you're right. So yeah, so at the first part of that, it was just kind of whatever. But yeah, at the end, like they even played. They had some Star Warsy music. I played one earlier, but this was when they were on the moon of Endor part with the station. This is actually kind of long.
I'm trying to protect Locarno from people like this.
Would you call this Star Wars music?
Yes, I would.
Aw, Starfleet.
It's hard
Looks like your little mission has failed.
Yeah. The little dudes in the desert.
And then there was this. It's kind of Star Warsy.
Yeah. Or
Holtzy. Coming from that structure there.
Destroy it!
It's shielded by those rock formations.
I don't care. Take us closer.
And then there, Holtz planets. And then there was this
Star Wars
one.
is pretty Holtzy.
Yeah.
Then this was
for the Empire.
That's like when they're out, like when they're flying through the Millennium Falcon and they're shooting at all those ships.
Or in that Nintendo
like
64 game, Shadows of the Empire, when you're like on the train.
Well, that was taken from. Yeah, I think that was lifted directly from.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just like a slightly different arrangement.
Do you think there was any kind of issue that people had by like associating so closely with Star Wars?
I noticed that as well, and I don't recall seeing anything on the old internets. At least not in the little holes and hovels that I tend to populate on the internet.
Order to the Sherbal system. Order to the Sherbal system. Order to the Sherbal system. Sherbal system. Sherbal system. Order to the Sherbal system. Sherbal system.
Plus Boimler.
Order to the Sherbal system. Sherbal system. Sherbal system. Order to the Sherbal system. Sherbal system.
Plus Boimler.
Order to the Sherbal system. Sherbal system. Sherbal system. Order to the Sherbal system. Sherbal system.
Plus Boimler.
All right, that's interesting.
Did you like that beat? That was a beat.
I didn't. I like Jesse.
Girls trip.
Free ball in the beat. Isn't that what it's called? That's the term when you just come up with something off the top of your head. It's called free balling.
Yeah,
right. That's the term, right? That's the term of art.
Yeah.
Free balling.
You want to solve puzzles and mysteries?
We're gonna cause some trouble together. Trouble together. Trouble together. Trouble together.
Does it sound like he's saying "prubble" when I say it like this?
Trouble together.
Prubble.
Trouble together.
But he's saying
we're gonna cause some trouble together.
Now
that's a
my
beat.
mind.
That's
my mind.
a beat. Now that's a beat. Now that's a beat. Now that's
my
a
mind.
Order to the Sherbal system. Sherbal system. Sherbal system. Order to the Sherbal system. Sherbal
Plus
system.
Boimler.
That was free balling.
Girls trip.
That's free balling.
Free ball.
So there was, and then right. So when the Cerritos talked to that dude when they were approaching New Axton, he was all wearing some Imperial style garb.
Oh yeah, that too.
That guy.
And then asking for he wasn't asking for the codes, but it was basically the
What do you think you're doing?
The asking for the codes set up, and then they had the Spaceballs planetary entrance. I know they've had it in Star Wars as well, like in Rogue One and stuff like that. But
you could come on down.
To me, that's the Spaceballs, like the atmospheric gate, you know, where you have to go through like the hole.
Yeah,
that's the Spaceballs.
And
oh shit, there goes the planet, such things. You know, Spaceballs. That's a parody of both Star Wars and Star Wars.
Oh,
among other things, Alien,
Planet of the Apes,
and
Planet of the Apes as well.
The whole thing when she Freeman thought that the information broker was a puppet, that kind of was like
that was hilarious.
That was like a Star Wars thing. Which the information that I was wondering about the information.
That was more of a straight up Star Trek joke because of that was a puppet. Like in the TOS, it was all.
That's a TOS puppet.
It was a TOS like puppet, and that's that scary guy who always shows.
Oh,
up
you're right.
end.
Because if it was Star Wars, they probably would have said Muppets. But so
Ewoks.
Good point.
Yeah, I made a solid point.
Jabba the Hutt.
Solid poops.
So with this, and this is an aside. When Freeman was when Freeman was looking for the information broker, which actually the information broker was a dude in the game Mass Effect, which I bring up from time to time. There's some dude called the information broker. So I don't know how like many places that they refer to the information.
I think it's
broker.
a fairly generic term.
It seems
information broker.
It seems like a generic term. It does.
Somebody who brokers information.
But like, would you say like the information broker? I would think you would say a vigiration broker.
Well, it depends on how many information brokers are in a particular locality.
So I would say
if you have the type of locality that has one information broker.
I'm just saying. Well, okay, but I guess you
then
could.
It's the
I guess you
broker.
could
It's
say
like the baker. I'm going to the baker.
Well, I guess you could.
Where are you headed, honey?
I guess you.
I'll be right back.
Okay, I fucking get it.
I'm just headed to a baker.
Okay,
I'm going to a baker. Sorry.
Point made. But when she thought so we established that Freeman was like, playing everyone all along. She wasn't really as naive as she led on to be. But then when she shook up the information broker, do you think that was a real mistake, or do you think that was all part of her plan to shake the...
I think she was looking to fuck somebody up, and she fucked that dude up.
But do you think she really thought that was a puppet? That's my question.
No, I don't think so, because if you...
I do. You're right.
The guy says, I wasn't going to sell the information to anyone, but now because you fucked me up, I'm going to sell it to this dude.
That's what...
So that presumably... that's a weak part of the plot, by the way, because it's like, there's a lot riding on the fact that it's like, if I assault this guy, he will do what I want. I'm tricking him into doing what I want.
I mean, that's not, I don't blame Star Trek for that. That's
just stretching it a little. Just stretching it a little.
No, I'm saying, but I'm saying the reason I'm not blaming Star Trek for that is because that's common among a lot of like shows and stuff like that.
What would happen if I came over there and fucked you up right now?
Like, have you ever watched...
I just fucking shook you around.
If you watch like other shows where they have this sort of intricate chain of events.
I don't watch other shows.
God.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I get it. You're right. That's my fault. That's me being bad.
If you watch other shows where there's an intricate chain of events that going on that are sort of predicated on the idea that you don't know something, and then it's a big reveal at the end that they knew all along, or there was some trickery. If you rewatch those steps, there's usually a few things along the way or that were like you said, there's a lot riding on it. But I agree, Patrick, that she must have known that he wasn't the information broker. They weren't a puppet. But then if that's the case, which it probably is, that's fucked up because
he looked pretty upset.
Yeah, she fucked him up.
Yeah, it was so excellent. Just that joke of Rutherford scanning him and being like, he's got all sorts of internal organs.
Yeah. So then that's fucked up that she would just fucking like sort of not only shake some innocent dude around, but also sort of like make fun of the way he looks. Isn't that kind of like saying like, oh, you look like a fucking puppet? That's objectifying and reductive.
And apparently it's A-okay if you're undercover and on a Starfleet mission. But you know what it is? What is not fucked up? Take a guess.
Oh, is this something?
Taking another break.
That's right, Jesse. Jesse wins the prize. Winner. Triple dinner. It's time for a break. We will take a break now, and then we'll be back after the break. Be right back after the break. Okay, we're back. We have returned from the break.
Right.
We're ready to conclude our discussion of the inner fight.
When we were just talking about how that was fucked up, that she sort of mishandled whatever the not puppet thing.
No, I think manhandling is the correct.
But this is another
I get it.
This is another example of them kind of taking lightly like the actuality of what's going on, because at the beginning, with the whole
your eyes shoot out of your head.
Like, first of all, the way he put that made it seem like all they have to do is touch you and your eyes fly out of your head. And if you remember, that's exactly what happened to that dude. He got attacked by one of those,
the venomous tremble lizards.
And so,
what's gonna happen to you?
Do you think that tremble lizard? It made it seem like that tremble lizard was like chewing his eyes out. But according to what he was saying, all they had to do was touch you.
It's a venom thing.
Yeah, and so what I was saying is they didn't treat that like the big deal it kind of was. Like Boimler and then were just standing there just like, oh man, this is kind of fucked up.
Boimler went to go help.
But when in actuality this dude's eyes are flying out of their head and they didn't see that face, much like in Agamus when he when Agamus enslaved the whole planet, that was also they sort of casually threw away. I know they're just for jokes, but like when you think about it, it's kind of fucked up. You know,
I agree. I agree.
I
100%.
shooting, I like a robot taking over a planet. I shooting out of someone's head in front of you, and then like objectifying and reducifying this person, calling them a puppet and shaking them around. That's
Well, I think Starfleet has a lot to answer for.
I agree.
This is what we were talking about earlier with Mariner having an internal battle about the positives and negatives.
It's not
of
all.
Starfleet.
That was cracked up.
But that was an aside. There was a couple other Star Wars things. We already mentioned the moon of Endor, and Jesse, you mentioned the satellite. And I'm sorry I snapped at you earlier because you were totally right and I was totally wrong.
I meant like the bunker thing.
Yeah, the bunker thing.
Yeah.
You were right. I didn't mention that. So I was just like pre-prepared to get all mad about something. When Mariner gets beamed away, Vrek goes, "This is a trap," and I'm wondering if that's like.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. Although if it was though,
classic Star Wars lore.
If they would have, although if it was related, they probably would have just said it's a trap. They probably wouldn't have said this is a trap. And then Mariner is in the. Oh no, I don't know. I don't know when. I couldn't tell if when she was at the part when she was in Locarno's ship and she goes,
"What in the minimalist hell is
I couldn't tell if that was some kind of Star Wars joke or something. When she's
I don't
talking
think
about
so.
No, I don't think that's a Star Wars joke.
It was a decoration joke.
Yeah,
it was a decoration joke.
Classic
It was
decoration
a decoration joke, but some of the inside ships are like sci-fi often has very minimalist inside.
Maybe it's trying to
decor.
tell us something in relative to Star Trek lore.
I was just saying
nothing's coming to mind immediately.
I was just saying I think it's common to have like these insides of like other ships be all like minimalist and just some kind of white background.
Maybe the ship is from the future.
Like,
is that what
It
they're
kind
trying
of
to
looked
tell
like
us?
one of those future ships from
Yeah,
Discovery.
the
I was just about to say
all
like
clean.
I was just about to say the space station in Discovery that was all like white and sterile or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
so that probably wasn't one. Yeah. Do you ever read an article and it's all like talking about Star Wars and they go like, I have a bad feeling about this because they say that a bunch of times in Star Wars.
They say like we've got company. That's another. Star
We've got
Wars
company.
thing.
I don't like
Yeah.
it.
We've got
And the
company.
enemy shows up.
And then
I don't like it at all.
and then of course Billups.
Yeah.
That was like definitely like a Star Wars, but yeah, his crazy angular dagger ship was
it's also
definitely Star Wars.
it's also the Billups helmet thing. The voice is similar to like the brain.
Never go over my helmet.
Well, yes, that's all. Yes, good on you. There's another Spaceballs reference.
Yeah,
Bounty hunters. That's some Star Wars shit.
It's more like I went around your helmet.
I like what they were talking about. There was Muds
Yes,
and
bounty hunters.
There was Muds and Zorkies was like the shitty version of Mud.
I forgot about Zorkies. Zorkies was
And he was
great.
talking about how they're like black market intel isn't as good, which is kind of funny. It made me think of like Lord of the Rings. You remember not Lord of the Rings? Legend of the Red Dragon. I was thinking Legend of the Red Dragon spells Lord.
Yes.
Remember that door game?
Yes, it was a door game on a bulletin board system, aka BBS. Dan ran one and I ran one for a number of years.
Dan ran.
And ran.
Back in the 1990s.
And it reminded me, I don't remember if it was like the bartender or the bard that you talked to and you'd like give them some money and they'd give you some kind of secret tip about something. But that's like a common trope about like, but it was a funny.
Sort of like an information broker.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
No, I agree. I think there's a lot of Star
But
Wars
that
stuff.
was a funny joke talking about buying black market information like you'd buy a drink because that's a trope.
Well,
in
I think it's interesting because the Star Wars stuff in this episode seemed to be overt and acute and on purpose.
I'm acute.
And yet you are. You are
I
acute.
am acute.
You are so acute.
You're the cute. But I'm a little at a
Grand Nagus.
I'm at a bit of a loss as to exactly where they're going with this, why they're doing this overt Star Wars stuff.
I don't know either.
There's been critiques, I think, that we shared a little bit that like the first few episodes of Prodigy, for example, were a little bit more in the Star Wars mold.
Like the pilot, at least I think it was a two-part. Was it a two-parter?
The two-part
that
pilot.
one was straight up like Star Wars,
It
like a Star Wars
really
animation.
seemed
And
very
it made
Star
me
Wars.
really worried. I wasn't like legitimately worried, but
you were shaking in your
I was
fucking
like,
boots.
I was Patrick. I'm calling you on the phone. I never call you. I usually text.
He called me on a landline. I don't even have a landline. I don't know how he managed.
You were
it.
like losing sleep.
Yeah, like I couldn't. Texting wasn't good enough. I had to call him like a maniac. But the first episode I was like, this is just going to be a Star Wars show, and then they proved that on the second,
quite the opposite.
That it was actually a really good show.
And it's
actually Star Trek.
Prodigy is really extra
Actually,
Star Trek.
Battlestar Galactica.
I mean, some episodes are the most Star Trek thing you're ever going to fucking find on the planet.
I am the information broker. I am the information broker.
that's never been an issue with Lower Decks. Lower Decks has always been very Star Trek, specifically very 1990s era Star Trek, an evolution just a few years past that, the eras we're familiar with TNG, DS9, and Voyager. So yeah, they made these creative choices for some reason. Who knows? Maybe the second half of the two-parter will help clarify that, or maybe they're just doing it for fun. We did hear earlier in the season, I think I mentioned, it was when I was on Let's Talk About Treks, I think there was a comment or somebody, it's all mixed together in my head now, but somebody who was not me was pointing out that some of the producers had mentioned something about pulling not just from Star Trek references, but pulling from outside of Star Trek to other entertainment. We saw an example of Boimler sort of dying and going to like the Red Room from Twin Peaks,
right?
Star Wars, Star Trek version of that.
I mean, even the titles, like there was that one title a few weeks ago that was referenced to something totally unrelated to sci-fi at all.
Yeah.
What was that?
Parth Ferengi's Heart Place was a parody of Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, which is an excellent British television show with Matt Berry and Matthew Holness, Richard Ayoade, and others.
The episode where they go to the collector and there's all that stuff, like they have the big dead Spock too. But
I am the information broker.
That had some non-Star Trek stuff in it, right?
Did it? Maybe
some of this artifacts.
Well, the point being that the producers have mentioned that they're into doing this, and that there's been references to like Alien and all sorts of other stuff. So this may be just an example of that, where they're like, we wanted to be more overt and have a fun Star Warsy planet because it fits with the plot that we're doing. This episode is about going to the seedy underworld. Why not do the Tatooine style?
Yeah, New Axton. Tatooine, but Sherbal 5.
Order to the Sherbal system. Sherbal system.
Plus Boimler.
Sherbal system. That was not a planet. That was not
what
equivalent.
If it was the Sherbal
that was a planet in Lower Decks, but it was equivalent to the Star Wars moon of Endor, which was a moon. So Sherbal was analogous to the moon of Endor.
It could have been the
Endor
moon
itself.
of Yavin too.
Yeah,
it could have been. By the way, information brokers use their well-honed research skills to help businesses and individuals who are searching for specific information. I got that from howtobecomelibrarian.com. So apparently librarians are also known as information brokers. So I guess you can use the term information broker to mean more than just Mass Effect or Star Trek Lower Decks.
All right, good. Now I'm glad that we've.
I know the
that.
words equal that. I just didn't know that's something people said. I didn't know that people often said it, but apparently librarians are called information brokers.
All right, good. I do. It's an excellent fact to learn today.
Is it well honed? It's not well owned. It's well honed.
It's well honed. unless you
own it.
If you're playing a video game, then it's well pwned.
There was an episode of Night Court where there was this guy Herb who died, and they had him. Wait! I
know the punchline.
I know. Just wait. And then they put him. They burned Herb up, and they burned Herb up. Okay, I'm fucking. This is why I told you not to say the punchline, because you got that all fucking wrong.
Okay, we can beep that out, and then we'll beep out the punchline.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, they Herb gets cremated, and then Dan, who is played by John Larroquette, he comes in and he makes some hot tea, and then Harry says, Dan, that's not Herb tea. That's Herb, because he put Herb's ashes instead. And I'd have to rewatch the episode.
Would it be herbal tea?
That's what I'm saying. I have to rewatch the episode because I feel like he said that's not Herb tea. But there's no Herb tea. There's herb tea. So I want to know if he said that's not herb tea, that's Herb, but that makes the joke less funny. Or did he say that's not Herb tea, that's Herb, that makes the joke funnier, but it makes less sense.
And we're going to stipulate that we understand that in the UK often it is pronounced Herb, but we're speaking in the UK in the United States context.
Yeah.
In
this would make sense if it was in the UK, but where did Night Court take place, in Chicago or something?
New York.
Oh, I know.
The Brooklyn Bridge is
the bass goes and then the bass goes doo-doo.
You used to play that every band practice.
You have to forgive me that it was a long time ago, so I didn't remember there was a Brooklyn Bridge in it.
I remember it slightly differently. That
Plus Boimler.
That same episode is identical punchline, except I freely admit that I could be wrong because this was long ago. I remember it was Harry Anderson and his dad, and it was Harry Anderson drinking the tea made of herb, and his dad, who played Gomez Addams on the Addams Family.
Is his name Jerry Anderson?
No, but he was the adoptive father. It was John Astin played Harry Anderson's father. John Astin is the adoptive father of
What,
Sean
you mean
Astin.
Samwise Gamgee?
Yes, Samwise Gamgee.
that's Sean
Samwise
I'm just
Gamgee
kidding.
is the son of Patty Duke.
Patty
the
Duke?
Patty Duke show.
And Sean
Hot dog
Astin
makes her lose control.
and
his
Sean
father
Astin was
apparently-
also in a movie with Kevin Bacon where Kevin Bacon was a bad youth
But
group leader
Sean
or
Astin, but John Astin is not Sean Astin's biological father. But when he married Patty Duke, he adopted Sean Astin as his own.
warrior.
Okay. That all being said, I heard it as Sean Astin saying like Harry.
You mean John Astin?
No, yes, sorry, you're correct. John Astin saying Harry, that's not Herb T. That's Herb. That's so. I think the characters might be different, but otherwise.
Oh, are you just saying the characters might be different? But I mean, it was the same idea, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's the same idea.
But
No, nobody cares. About
yeah,
this.
I know. But you might be right. This was a long time ago. I didn't remember the Brooklyn Bridge in the opening of. I remember the song. I don't remember the. Okay, it doesn't matter.
Do you remember the Alamo?
Fuck the Alamo.
Remember that scene in Big Top? Oh, not Big Top Pee-wee. Whoever references Big Top Pee-wee.
Nobody.
Pee-wee's Big
Nobody.
Adventure.
They know what's good for them.
Yeah, the Pee-wee's Big Adventure. They talk about. He's all like, I remember the Alamo.
Yeah,
The
that's kind of why I said
Alamo.
it. Not because I care about the Alamo.
I
just care
remember.
about Pee-wee.
I can't do a Pee-wee. I can't do Pee-wee. I remember the Alamo. I can't. He doesn't make that. How does he?
What you can do is you can do a Star Trek podcast. I almost said Star Wars podcast.
Okay,
Maybe that'll be next. We do.
So-
I just briefly before we close things down because we are coming up on the end of the show. I did want to talk a little bit about Locarno and his past and his motivation.
Well, we haven't even really talked about the whole like Cardassians and Romulans and Ferengis.
Well, you know, it's all isn't it fairly obvious?
Yeah, I guess.
The command crew of each of the ships,
But I mean,
has been stranded on Sherbal 5. They're fighting
Order
with
to
each
the
other.
Sherbal system. Sherbal system. Sherbal system.
And
Order to the Sherbal system. Sherbal system.
Mariner.
Plus Boimler.
Mariner and Ma.
Okay,
Help bring peace and get them to work together in order to fight to fight the true enemy.
Was this?
I am
It kind of looked like the same Klingon from that episode a few
from
seasons back
Wage
from
Douche.
Wage Douche.
Yeah, he was the captain.
So yeah, it's the same guy.
It's the same guy.
It's the same guy.
Yes.
Douche.
Chai to douche.
Benach.
And that's an.
I will drive my duck tag into their hearts.
That's why
I'm not intimidated by some tore up Patak.
I enjoyed all of that stuff. It's just there's like the thing to discuss there is the result of that, which is like, why is Locarno doing this? Why is he going around to all these different people?
Well, that's
and
what they'll
he's-
tell us
he's
next
going
week.
after-
They'll tell us that next week.
I know, but I mean, that's part of the point is to speculate a little bit because.
But we'll know in 7 days. So why are you so impatient?
I'm not impatient.
You're just
I'm curious because I think there's a couple directions they might want to go. First of all, for the background on Locarno, for the people who aren't familiar with the TNG episode, The First Duty, Locarno, the reason the character exists in the first place is because it's a Wesley episode where Wesley's at the academy and Wesley is a goody two shoes, but in this episode, it turns out he did something naughty. And what that was is he was on this fancy flying team and they performed an illegal stunt.
It was called the nuclear star blast or something.
Yeah, Dan's got it right on the money. No need to look it up. That's exactly what it was. It was called the nuclear star blast.
Yeah, it's not allowed because they had to go too close and blow up their ship. And then when you blow up your ship,
they don't light
you.
their wake. They light their like impulse wake or whatever. Whatever it was. The whole
You
point
like
of
to
the
finish
episode,
you like to finish my sentences.
That's because I love you, Dan.
Is that what? Oh yeah, it is because we finish each other's
sandwiches.
Oh yeah,
Sandwiches. Wow.
So Locarno and Wesley and Cito Jackson. Not Jackson, Cito Jackson. And the guy who died, I forget his name. And Mariner apparently was hanging around at this time. But
now I'm finishing your sentences.
That's not what you
No,
did.
that's not what that is.
I guess I'm doing something subtly different.
That's much different.
But what happened is they all got put on
This
like
never happened
trial,
before.
basically not trial, but like administrative whatever. They got in trouble, and there was an inquest, and
Captain
Locarno
Picard got disappointed.
Yeah, because see, Locarno was the nominal like leader of this group, and he
You were like nominal leader a group.
and he influenced the others to lie, basically, to
Right,
protect
to
themselves. And he was all about
yeah.
protecting
He was
the
all
team.
about, yeah, he was all about
blah, blah,
protecting
blah.
the team. Yeah,
And
yeah, blah, blah, blah.
In the end of the episode, he does prove himself.
He does prove himself by the end of the episode.
Somewhat, because
a little bit, but not fully,
instead of them
because he
all
still did
getting
a
in
fucked
trouble,
up thing.
he agrees to take the
He
fall.
does take the fall, but then like he still had to suffer for his punishment. He suffered for his
kicked out of
wrongdoing.
Starfleet Academy.
So he's getting punished for it.
And the others,
But he
Wesley and
regains
Sito,
a little bit of his honor.
Their prior year's credits are canceled, right? So that holds them back a little bit, right? And then Picard's all disappointed. in Wesley.
Even their bonus points.
Super disappointed.
It's the first duty. It's
What
an
they
interesting
should have
episode.
gotten bonus points for doing the nuclear star blast, but then also they were punished because you're not allowed to do the nuclear star blast. But because it's so difficult, they should have gotten bonus points, canceling each other out, meaning that it's just the same.
Yeah, that's what they do in like Harry Potter, and it's not really a good way to
Bonus
promote
points.
good order.
Yeah,
in the military.
It's presenting somewhat
situation.
of a mixed message.
Yeah, if you get away with it, it's fine.
I am.
That's like how white people are raised. They're like, if you get away with it, it's fine. And by the way, we'll help you get away with it.
You're gonna get away with a lot of
We
stuff.
got like a whole team of people who are ready. They're standing by.
They're working for you
to help you get away with it. We're three white men. We can.
Here's a bunch of money.
We can state that with certainty. That is how the world
I didn't
works.
state anything, just for the record. I
Yes.
didn't state anything.
Yeah. Dan lives in North Arlington.
I didn't state anything for or against. I'm just not part of this discussion.
Well, because you're intelligent. Dan is smart. Okay. No, but Locarno's motivation, he was friends with Sito, Ensign Sito. She died.
Sito was a warrior.
It could be that they're out. They think that Sito's not dead. We never saw a body. We just heard radio communique from the radio, subspace or whatever from the Cardassians.
Oh, so you think Sito might be alive? I don't
Well,
think
that's one direction they could go. Now, people online, when this has been brought up, people online have argued that might be sort of dramatically neutering the conclusion to.
Yeah, there's no reason to bring her
the
back.
TNG's lower decks.
There's no reason to bring her back. There's
Well,
absolutely no because
the
we
reason
haven't. No,
would
wait,
be
because
if
we
you-
haven't gained any sort of like relationship with Sito. We don't know anything about her other than stories told in the lower decks from Star Trek Next Generation.
yeah.
But there's just nothing. There's nothing gained by bringing her back. Really.
You're arguing that other people are agreeing with you and saying that would be a problem and would undercut it for very little or no gain. Other people are saying like, actually, well, the gain would be it would give
Mariner a reason to like want to try again or something.
Well, more specifically,
She should be able to learn that on her own, though.
It's a potential motivator for what Locarno's doing. Now, there's a million
You're saying it's not because. No, it has nothing to do with Mariner. It's just meant as a motivation for Locarno.
It has to do with Mariner in the sort of side connection fact.
But
it
they're
would
not
be
talking.
a potential.
But they're not talking about Sito comes back and now Mariner's all like different now because Sito's back. or
No,
something?
well, that I agree. That would if that happened, I think that would be dramatically uninteresting.
Yeah, she's got to get over that shit on her own.
Yeah, but that doesn't preclude the idea that Sito comes back in some fashion. I think that there's ways you could do it that would not be sort of dramatically and narratively annoying. But I also could see a lot of pitfalls where you'd be like, I don't know.
Pitfall. That was a great game.
Things.
Pitfall.
But
played it on the Apple II Plus.
But on the other hand, you're like, okay, if Locarno wants to rescue Sito, well, why is he like getting all these pirate guys?
If he wants to rescue Sito, we'll have to wait and see.
Well, he's conspired.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I get it.
We'll have to wait and see though.
Yeah,
Sito.
What?
Yeah.
Explain that one. I don't get it.
No, Jesse. This is the point in the show where we have to ignore these things. we have to keep moving
finish
forward.
the podcast.
We have to finish the podcast because Dan's using all of his incredible might,
Nefarious.
his tools.
It's all self-defense.
He's also got this team of pirate, or for lack of a better term, I don't know what you call them, but like he's convinced members of the lower decks of a number of different groups. He seems to, it's almost like a menagerie of alpha and beta quadrant powers. And he's grabbing these ships. Now, none of them are the most powerful ships. None of the
Okay.
crews seem to their crews aren't particularly skilled. So it's like, what's he doing? Like, why does he need those ships? Why does he need those people? Right? He needs them for something, right? That I don't know. I'm like you said, we'll find out next week.
There was a Klingon named Ma'a. There was a Romulan named Vrek. There was a Vulcan. It looked like a Vulcan. There were two.
Was there a Vulcan?
Look, that's all I could think it was. There was at the very end they showed. Then there was 2 Cardassians. There was 2 Ferengi. There was 2 Orions and 2 Binars.
Yeah.
Do Binars always go in pairs? I forgot.
They usually they like to be in pairs.
Yeah.
We were
And we got a little the Mistress of the Winter constellation. Because because all the other people were afraid of Ma'a, and so the way they won over the Orions is by having the Mistress of the Winter constellation. So that's because like Ma'a already intimidated all the rest of them, but like not the Orions because they were tough. Did you see when she was fighting Ma'a? Like she did an awesome jump kick, and right when she kicked him in the face, the lightning struck.
Oh,
it
was great.
And she gave him like not one but 2 double axe handle, double fist punches in a row.
There's some great. If you go through that fight scene like frame by frame, there's some amazing framing shots of that fight. Now this episode actually has a lot of beautiful shots in it. Mariner overlooking the alien forest and all that other stuff.
So yeah, I was gonna say after there was the
Stupid knife rain.
that was the knife rain. That's good. I was particularly impressed by when they went up that tree originally before the fight, when they went up in that super tree, and when they all that's when Boimler was all talking about teaching me how to tap dance.
Yeah.
That awesome tree with this big clearing in the tree that was big enough for all of them to sleep with plenty of room. All I could think about is how I'd want to sit up there and play games, either Magic or video games or something, and also enjoy nature too. But if I had a little pad,
read a book,
wouldn't it be awesome to have
make some omelets, just cook some omelets
just to
up
have
there?
an idea that a tree was so big that you could have your own clearing that was big enough for a homestead.
Were you into the Gummy Bears TV show?
Yeah, I watched some Gummy Bears TV show. Didn't they have tree houses though? Or did they have...
but it's carved into a tree.
Well, what I was talking about is the fact that this is just a fucking tree.
Yeah.
Nothing was
We like
carved
the
into
natural
it.
aspect.
What I was saying is the tree is big enough that it allows for such a surface. Because I'm into big things, like when you look and see big monsters and big grapplers and things like that. Big stuff. Remember in Star Trek, was it Star Trek 5 when they were supposed to have big? Wasn't that the one where they were supposed? They were supposed to have big rock monsters. Big rock monsters. That would have been awesome. I liked in Return of the King when there was the big elephants or whatever they're called.
Oliphants. Timothy Oliphant.
I even though I like big monsters. Pacific Rim had some big.
Is there
kaiju.
real quick question? Is there anything else big that you like and that you won't lie about it?
That I won't lie about it?
Yeah, something that's
As in,
big.
you cannot lie.
And you simply could not lie about it.
Are you talking about cuts?
Yes.
Like on my arm?
Yes. Dan, we've been
big
meaning,
ones?
We've been meaning to
Big
talk to you
cuts?
about that. If you need any help, let us know.
When I'm hungry, I like nuts.
Okay.
You like big nuts?
Yeah, they're good. They're tasty.
Things that rhyme with butts. Okay. Any other concluding points? Because
he was getting at butts. Is what he was getting at.
We do need to close things down, shut things down, shut the podcast down. Keep the podcast at the appropriate expected length.
I liked when they jumped into that bird of prey at the end when they all jumped off the cliff into that thing.
I like that.
That was
ripped apart the hull.
Just ripped open the hull.
Yeah.
Which you'd like to think it wouldn't be a possible thing, but they got it to work.
Because they were about to jump out to warp or whatever, and then somebody was like, "No, wait a minute, they're already through."
I like the scene. I like when they were on the comm buoy. I like any type of space scene.
Say that again.
The comm buoy. Not Bowie, Maryland, but the comm buoy. Comm buoy. I like the scene. I like scenes like that, where it's out in the middle. It's
spelled differently.
It goes in the same sort of direction as why I like large things. It's this idea that you're in space, which is an infinite, or seemingly for relatively seemingly infinite, landscape of nothingness. Or something. There's lots of stuff up there, but you know what I'm getting at. But and you got, and they're all standing on a bridge, and it's way up in space, and it's oh my god, what if they fell off? It's oh god, what if they fell off into space? Oh no! And then there was the comm buoy, and they were just walking across
into space.
That was awesome.
You remember You remember that time?
When T'Lyn was saying that thing about
It will be 2.47 times more perilous if you remain uninformed of the details.
See, it's obvious
clever if simplistic or reverse psychology.
It was obvious that T'Lyn was trying to trick her into being safe, because if that were actually true what she was saying, she would have told her right away. She would have
told her right away.
Because she was saying it's more perilous if you remain uninformed. If that were true, she would have said it earlier, because she'd want Mariner to be safe, you know. So, but as it stood, like she was trying to trick Mariner into saying,
no, she was just having fun.
She was trying to trick, because she was like, if I take, because Mariner, she was trying to trick Mariner, because Mariner was like, what are we doing? And she's like, it'll be more dangerous if I tell you. And she's like, all right, don't tell me. And so I'm saying, if that were true, if it were more dangerous, if T'Lyn told her that, she would have told her earlier.
No, I disagree with you. I believe T'Lyn's calculation. I don't think T'Lyn was lying. I don't think she made up that calculation. I think she's exactly correct that it will be that much more dangerous. It's just that since it's supposed to be such an easy mission, it's a meaningless, irrelevant danger.
Because why? She's telling her, if it's more dangerous if I tell you. Mariner was trying to ask, where are we going? And they didn't want to tell her because they wanted to make her think that not telling her would make it more dangerous.
Yes, and it'll make 2.1 times of zero is zero.
Wait, and it would take
that's the joke.
No, that's not the joke. The joke. It wasn't the joke. She was tricking her. They were trying to keep Mariner. They were trying to keep Mariner from asking questions, because if it actually was safer if they told her the details, they would have told her the details without telling her that it was more dangerous to tell her the details.
Excellent.
I don't think that's like a joke. I think it's just what happened. It was a joke, but it was a joke about how she was tricking her.
Yeah. Okay.
And because there is a little bit of danger. There's a little bit of danger to what they're doing. Just not much.
Yeah. And
it's a non-zero number.
And 2 times not much is not much.
But it's still more dangerous. And so, like, she would have told her right away if that was going to mean she was safer. They were just trying to trick her.
You can join us in this conversation either by writing to feedback@itsgotstartrek.com or checking us out on social media. In social media, you can write us all sorts of crazy stuff on social media, and we will respond, because that's the type of blokes that we are. On social media, you can find us anywhere at It's Got Star Trek. Yes, that's the @ symbol. It's Got Star Trek, right?
This planet. That's no honor.
See, it's funny because remember how you wouldn't play the sound effect of the guy's bones breaking last week? But you played that, and that sounds pretty...
I know, but like
crunchy.
It is crunchy, but it's a knife jab, which to me sounds less awful than thinking about my bones.
You're right.
When they talk about bones sticking through skin, I get all really skeeved out.
The visuals are part of it, But yes, so that's the social media. We're on all the regular social media bits and a lot of the new ones too. Find us out there. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. Definitely check us out on YouTube. Do not forget to go to Trek Time's YouTube channel and check out the most recent episode of Pros and Cons, PROSE, and Cons, KHANS, in which Dan and I have a chortling debate.
Right.
Is that a verb that we can use? It's not really, doesn't work, but it's a fun debate.
It sounds funny.
It's a fun debate. Definitely worth.
We don't want that.
It's a debate worth checking out.
Okay. Do you think? Oh, they talked about bending the knee in this episode. The first time I heard about bending the knee was in Game of Thrones. Has anyone ever heard that before Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I think.
I don't think I've heard that before.
Yeah, it's just a term of loyalty.
I heard it.
I've heard it in things other than Game of Thrones, but there was things that came after Game of Thrones, so I don't know.
Well, again. You can write us on social media or an email, or go to our website, www.itsgotstartrek.com, and all manner of joyful things will find you there. So that'll be it.
What you talking about, Dan?
That'll be it for us this week. And next week, of course, we will be discussing the finale. The as yet unannounced name. The name has not been announced. We don't know what the finale's name is. I don't know if it's a part 2 to this one or if it's a totally different name. We will find out next week. You will find out before we do, probably. And so you can look at again at our social media and stuff and check it out. But otherwise, we look forward to talking to you next week about that.
You should have thought of that before you called me a puppet.
It was brutal, but it was really funny. It really was. All right. Anyway, we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you later. All right. Bye-bye.
Whoa!
Later.
Someone is trying to frighten us.
You now have 1 minute until you're doomed.
Sorry, Mr. Broker, but I'm not intimidated by a puppet. Who's pulling the string? Tommy, who your master is, you fake puppet? He's a
That's not a puppet! He's got all sorts of internal organs!